Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we're taking another look at the Samus ARAN figure from Metroid Other M from Figma. I reviewed this originally a long time ago, and I get people occasionally asking me to re-review it, so I figure I might as well do that. And so here it is. Before we get into the figure, let's look at the packaging in case you're not familiar with it. It's pretty nice looking packaging. It has the Nintendo license sticker on there, so make sure you get one with that, though I don't think they've bootlegged this at all. That's the name in Japanese, nice side art right there, and then some posing options on the back. Pretty standard. It is number 133, if you did not know that. You can use that to look it up. It comes with all the standard Figma stuff. You get the little plastic baggie for holding the accessories, you get the display stage, and then we get some alternate hands, and of course some other stuff, but we'll get to those as we go. So we have one fist hand, and then we have one thumbs up hand, one gripping hand, and then two different open palm hands for however you want to pose Samus. And if you'll notice, we don't have any hands for the right side, and that's because of her gun. You don't need a hand over there. We do get an interchangeable front piece though, for like a charge shot, or a super shot, or a missile, or whatever you want to call it. You can swap those out. They just pull out and pull in, and it's keyed. The little plastic piece has a shape on it that can only go in one way. So that's nice. We have the morph ball, which has a peg hole in it, so you can have that in the air if you want it to be in the air. The centerpiece is like a translucent yellow plastic, and then decent paintwork throughout. It doesn't feel cheap either. It feels nice for such a simple accessory. And then of course we need to be able to have Samus shooting, so we have two shots connected to each other that are translucent with a little bit of pink shading. Nicely done. A little bit of warping from the package, but you can warm that up and it should be fine. And then we also get a single shot. I do wish we had more, like a charging effect for like just the ball that's glowing on the end, or something like that. It would have been cool. Maybe they'll do that if they ever release what I want, which is a Super Metroid Samus. That would be awesome. But still, this is one of my all-time favorite figures, partially because it's a Nintendo character that I am quite fond of, and partially just because it looks so darn good standing on a shelf. It's so nice. I love this figure, and you will want to have it if you don't already. And they should be in stock at Big Bad Toy Store, by the way, so click that link in the description and get one. They tend to reissue this figure, and Link actually for that matter. They have a couple of times. They will stop eventually though, so if you don't have one, get it while you can before the prices go up. These are awesome figures. It stands 15 centimeters roughly, a little bit more, and about 6 inches roughly, a little bit more. So decent size to it, and as you can see, it just looks great. It looks like Samus. You can't see most of the joints, and the ones you can see, they kind of work since she's in a robotic suit anyway. So that's pretty good. The oranges and reds and yellows are all appropriately metallic. The blue on the gun, bluish green, everything looks so nice. Really, really good. We have the green parts on the chest and shoulders, and then the visor looks like it's translucent green with silver paint behind it to give it that nice look. Then we have kind of like that gunmetal color on the rest of the helmet. Nice little detail painting on the back here with the thrusters. The gun detailing looks good. Everything looks good. You can see the knee joints from the side and the elbow joints from the side, but once she's posed, they all just kind of disappear, and it makes for a really nice display piece. The head articulation is that. So it's a big ball peg for the neck, and then another ball peg at the top of the neck. Not standard Figma articulation, but it is sufficient for Samus because she's got that little flat helmet type thing going on. You can lean the head from side to side, you can rotate it around. Looking up and down is pretty limited though. For the shoulders, we have a ball peg that goes into the torso that lets the whole arm move around. Well, can I pull this out without breaking it? Can't really, I don't want to risk it. So it's really a three-way ball peg. So you get the ball peg that goes into the torso, the ball peg that goes into the shoulder pad that lets that move around, and you get a ball peg that the arm connects to also. So it's all independently articulated, and you should be able to pose it however you need to. You can get gaps in there, but you can just pose it away, and you should be just fine with the figure, no problem at all. So that ball peg up there gives you the bicep swivel and increased articulation. We get a single jointed elbow, but you get pretty good range of motion, so I like that. And then for the wrists, we have hinges built into the pegs, so they swivel and hinge like that. So pretty much all you need, and then of course they can kind of tuck in when they're not in use, and it just kind of pulls out a little bit as you need to use it, but it works just fine. For the torso, we have this joint, a ball peg that goes into the top, ball hinge in the middle, and then a straight peg that goes in to the bottom. So you can pretty much move her, wow, let's see if I can pronounce things. You can move her however you need to. Nice ab crunch. You can rotate it, lean it to the side. You just have to manipulate that hinge around, and you can pretty much do whatever you want. And it looks good all the way through. You get the little peg hole back here for the display stage. We have a 3-way ball peg, just like in the shoulders. For the hips also, it goes into the lower torso going up, and then one for each hip. So you can move the legs around on that. That's what this piece is. That's the socket, and then you can move the thigh around that also. These pieces are soft up here, so they don't get in the way too much. Her hips do kind of pop out a little more than I would prefer. Just while you're posing here, they might fall off, but you should be able to just pop them right back on. And she doesn't have the greatest range of motion in the hips, but it's enough to get her in her stances. You get a really nice range of motion for the knee. Unfortunately, it doesn't look that great because all of the knee armor goes with the lower leg, and it looks a little empty. But anything other than a full bend looks pretty good. For the ankles, we have that same type of hinge joint in there, so it's a peg going up and a peg going forward. So you can use that hinge, really good range of motion. Then you also get the ankle rocker, which I love how they designed that. The way the back part stays in place and then the front part rotates, that's pretty good. And we also get a toe hinge, which isn't great, but it's good enough. So most of this figure is really good. Some of it's acceptable and some of it's not great, but it's definitely good enough. And the fact that it's Samus makes everything better because it's Samus, and who doesn't like Samus? Really definitely recommend you get this, guys. It's really fun to have. It's a great figure to own. Not 100% perfect, but rarely we get a perfect figure. So I think you should probably pick it up while you still can. So there it is. Let me pose her, and you can see some photos here at the end. And make sure you click that thumbs up button if you like this video. And make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.